let's do the thing. Hold on a second. Here it comes up. I think we're good. Think we're good?
Ba-dum-bum.
Yes! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Chaotic Codpast, where a bunch of us nerdy-ass streamers sit around and talk about topic of the week. This week it is Critical Role. I am joined today by the Reluctant Hermit, and how exactly, like, it's a Turfendiel? Because I'm so used to just saying turf. It's like, wait, so used to just saying turf. So, hi guys, welcome. Brain just broke for a second. Why is none of my sounds working?
Sora Megan.
Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the follow. Um, this is gonna be an interesting episode because unfortunately Hermit can only be here for the first hour, but that is fine. We're gonna do what we can. Um, I've been excited for this for a while, even though I've only been a fan of like. It's gonna sound weird. I've been a fan of the show Critical Role for about a year because I started watching it last year, but I've been a fan of like the collective people for like 2 decades. So, but when I was trying to figure out like my lineup for Codpast episodes, I was like, Critical Role needs to be one. Awesome. So here we are. So yeah. Um. So we're gonna start out just talking about like the animated series Legend of Vox Machina,
Because that's all I know.
which is fine. It's no big deal. Like we can work with that. Um.
I feel awful about that, Nate, because like the historically, like that they've really done an incredible job of bringing Dungeons and Dragons to the forefront of pop culture in a lot of ways, and kind of I mean in sort of my adult lifetime, watching it go from being a niche sort of interest to something that's more readily acceptable to everyone, because when I was a kid in school, like D&D was kind of looked at as being kind of odd, right? It's like, oh, you're playing adult, you're playing pretend still.
Mhm.
It's like, well, yeah, it's stories. We're creating our own. It's like creating your own live action book. Um, so I kind of feel a little bit silly that I didn't really um understand or like conceive how long Critical Role has been doing what they've been doing. And so the show allowed me to go retroactively back and kind of watch. And the only trouble is that, and I know that they've talked about this, but the first season of Critical Role is challenging to, I guess, get into because of some of the things that happened. And then also retroactively, they had to, once they split apart from Geek and Sundry, a lot of the images were then blurred out, which drives me nuts because it's like, just let people enjoy things. Like
Yeah.
why you guys got to do that? Like why you be like, sorry, we split up. You have to go. It's like it's the same story. Like what real like does it drive people to over to you? Do you have those images? Like come on, man,
Yeah.
just let people enjoy things.
Well, were you familiar of like who Critical Role was before you discovered Legend of Vox Machina, or
I mean,
were you just browsing and
I'd
you said,
heard.
"Oh, that looks cool. I'll give this a shot."
No. So I had actually, funnily enough, followed. I had friends that were playing. I was playing D&D. Um, I would say at the height of 2020's pandemic with some friends, and they got me into it. Um, and I ended up following Critical Role. I don't always watch. It's not because it's not entertaining. It's just that I'm with what free time, you know. So I do occasionally go back and watch, but I discovered them and then found out that their campaign Vox Machina was going to be broadcast um, as an animated series, and that kind of interested me because I've been kind of searching for some sort of show to watch for a while that I'd be really invested in. And the first season, I believe, Z and I binged it almost, I think, within a week when it came out, pretty much.
It's my brain just broke. Hold on,
It's all
recharging.
good.
Gareth, what about you? What was your like? Did you watch the animated after you started the campaign, or was it kind of a mixed bag?
So I have not been a critter for a year. Um, my first experience with it, I actually knew of Matt Mercer before. Like I knew he did his whole Critical Role campaign, but I actually knew Matt Mercer more of like the voice actor than the DM. Um, and I actually tried to stay away from Critical Role for the sheer fact that it was so mainstream. And if I was going to get into something, I was going to get into it because I wanted to get into it. Um, as far as Dungeons and Dragons. So I actually started playing almost 10 years ago now as a player, with some friends of mine. And I wanted to start DMing. So I finally got a group together, um, and wanted to do a little mini campaign. And my friend Jackie was like, let's base it off of Critical Role. And it was called Trouble in Whitestone. And in about 3 days, she shoved all of the Percy DeRollo knowledge in my head that I could possibly ever imagine.
Oh God.
So
So she's the reason. He's her
she's
husband.
the reason. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I can play Percival DeRollo much less, but better than Taliesin Jaffe. However, I could probably fill in for him if he ever needed to on that character.
Also, Captain Jackie Harkness Pokemon, and I love the name. Love the name. Um, I've I've known about like Critical Role for years, but I never actually sat down to watch it because it is a time consumer. And I had gotten so far behind, I was like, what's the point of even trying? But it's like one of my friends says, like, you have so much free time to do whatever you want. It's like I do, but I don't because I caretake for my grandparents. I do whatever they need done around here. I cook, I clean, whatever. But I do have a lot of spare time during it. So I decided to just dive into it, and I became obsessed. But
Why not One Piece, Nate?
the art style.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to segue.
Oh
It's
no
really
no
easy
no
to
no
do
no
that.
no!
Same thing
Like
with God
yeah, the One Piece anime.
yeah, because everyone's like, oh, well, Critical Role's long. I'm like, have you looked at how long
The
One
longest
Piece
episode,
is?
the longest episode of Critical Role is 7 hours and 4 minutes, and that is the finale of campaign 2. But I had known who Travis and Laura were since 2001, 2002, because Laura Bailey was in Yu Yu Hakusho as Keiko, and that is my favorite anime. And then, like 2 years later, Travis debuted as Roy Mustang in Full Metal Alchemist, and so I've been a fan of them ever since like that time. Um, and then Matt Mercer, I can't even pinpoint when I became a fan of him. It's just one of those I woke up and boom, I love Matt Mercer because it's hard to pinpoint like just one or two like voice roles because he's practically in everything. But you know, I knew him as Leon Kennedy. He was cast as Hit in the English dub of Dragon Ball Super. Um, I know he's Levi in Attack on Titan. Obviously Liam O'Brien. You know Gara in Naruto. He's War in Darksiders, which is one of my favorite video games to play. It's just fun.
Wait a sec. Matt Mercer is Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
is.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
God.
But yeah,
Today I found out.
first time meeting Matt Mercer. Yeah.
I never looked at his IMDb, and I knew he was prolific.
Oh,
I didn't
oh,
realize
oh,
just
yeah.
how much.
Um, when as far as like, I feel bad, especially about Marisha because I don't really know any of her roles aside from her job in the Critical Role. Same with Taliesin. I wasn't really familiar with him. But then I've looked him up, and he's the Flash in the Injustice games, and I freaking love him. And like, I love using the Flash in this. Like, oh, so Taliesin is my main. Got it. And speaking of Persona, Sam Riegel, Teddy in Persona 4.
Oh, sorry about that, friends. Am I loud enough now, Sora?
Fun fact too about Talus and Jeffy. Wait, how far are we? 10 minutes? Okay. Who got 10 minutes? Who got that bit? Fun fact about Talus and Jeffy, which I never knew, and friend Elfie actually told me this one. If y'all have ever seen Mr. Mom, he's the little blonde haired kid. I never knew that.
What was the? There's something that I knew about. I just can't remember now. Just blanking. But as far as getting drawn towards this phenomenon that is Critical Role, like what was it that lured you in? Obviously, you know, the voice actors that we're all fans of. Like, did you like see images of like Vox Machina and go, "Oh, that looks cool. I want to check that out"? Or like, was it the D&D aspect? Like, what was it about Critical Role that said, "I want to watch this"?
First, Turfendiel?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just closed everything on my computer. My thing was in my own D&D group, I play a sorcerer bard named Alistair from Hasman Hotel. That is a whole different thing that I could talk about for hours on.
Speaking of, haven't watched the first episode yet.
I haven't yet, I know, because it just came out like an hour ago, but it's fine. And he fell victim to a love potion, not once, but twice. And he actually now is married to Luna, who was one of the love potion recipients. But Jackie actually sent me for like a clip from one of their live shows where Scanlan is unfortunately fall into the love potion, and he actually
I love that bit.
goes.
I love that bit.
And like Percy is his line of sight for the night. And in that moment, I understood Percy and all of what Percy is, and I was like, I feel for you. So we had that connection and that brotherly connection, and it was from there on out. So
Speaking of, I hope they hand that. Just saying. In season 3, or that might be season 4. I don't know.
Well, that becomes the question, right? Is season 3 going to be the finale of Vox Machina, and then we're going to be going to Mighty Nine, or they're going to be doing both?
Both at the same time. Both at the same time, because.
Oh, then I'm not worried about anything then, because I was like, I'm only getting one more season of Vox Machina.
No, they're not, because there's still like 2 whole storylines they have to get through for Vox Machina.
And this is why, like, if you've only kind of come into knowing Critical Role through Vox Machina and you haven't gone retroactively back, it's just kind of like, oh, you don't realize how much story there is.
Oh, it's so good.
To answer your question, I think that was partially what kind of drew me in, was this feeling of characters that have been genuinely fleshed out, but also having people within the game that had a level of rapport where the role playing was so natural that it allowed the story sort of to carry itself, that any sort of nuance or any sort of role play that might seem kind of extraneous to some doesn't feel extraneous because of the relationships that these people have with each other as actors. And by watching that, the reason that it intrigued me is because I've always wanted to be a narrator. It's why I started reading books, actually. So like after playing D&D and doing a little bit of that, a friend of mine said, like, why don't you do voice acting? And I was like, well, I don't think that I really can. I personally, to my own voice, my own ear, I don't necessarily like listening to my own voice all that much, and I learned by looking it up that most people don't actually really enjoy the sound of their own voice because it doesn't sound the same as in their own body. You lose a lot of the bass and sort of the treble, because the bones in your jaw relate into like your ears, and so you have a lot more bass in your voice than when it's recorded. But that's kind of what drew me in, was finding out. And like, it's sort of obvious, right? Someone has to voice cartoons. We grow up with cartoons, but it made the idea of voice acting more real and more intriguing. And so by watching a lot of their work, I realized, okay, so an aspect of who I am that I want to really like pursue is being characters and voicing various different things. And I realized that a lot of voice actors, what they say is that in order to really be successful at that, you have to be very emotive. Well, I got made fun of for being a very, very emotional person as a young man. So finding a specific niche career that relies on feeling things was extremely interesting to me. And it's why I've been pursuing bits of it here and there ever since.
Love that. Have you seen like any of like the Critical Role like itself?
I mean, I've seen a little bit of the evolution. We tried listening it to to go to bed, and unfortunately, the audio was hard for us to to deal with.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And the
again, that's
earlier
not a
stuff,
dig.
yeah, yeah.
It's not a dig on them at all. That is the growing pains of starting your own project, your own
I
sort
was
of
from
casting.
2014.
Heat, Andy, hi.
Because it kind of ties into this question. Like, you're both DMs, right?
No,
I am.
Okay, I knew Turf was. I couldn't remember if Hermit was.
I have been asked repeatedly to. There is a plan to get me to run one shots that are pre-written. I have downloaded, I think, about 100 to 200 maps, and we had the plan of, after, because we're doing this right now. We have our own campaign that's 34 episodes, and each episode is 4 hours long right now, that we've been doing every Friday. We do that every with my friend Sir Grimwolf, who is a DM, and he started his own thing because I encouraged him. 'Cause it's like, I want you to do this. You are good at this. He's a great story crafter. But he encouraged me to become a DM. 'Cause it's like, you get so into character. Why don't you be a dungeon master? And I said, it's the time thing. Like, I'm writing music. I'm doing blacksmithing. I don't have the time
Yeah.
to craft a story, because the story, which is funny because I did end up writing a story, and I just don't have the time to flush it all out, because I realized in order to facilitate a lot of the stuff that I want to do, I have to flush out all of the NPCs that I want and write all of their backstories. And I had like 30 characters where I realized I don't have the time to fully flush them out, and I don't want to wing it. Like, I
So,
can do improv,
fun
but
fact, don't write their backstories. 99.9% of the time, your players don't give a crap about their backstories.
what was their personality more than anything, Turfendiel? That was the thing, was I didn't, for me, in order to actually be a convincing character, I have to know what the motivation is. Um, and that's my own creative process. If I don't have a motivation, if I don't have a story that I need to write for me, I don't have to write like some pages or anything. It's, I really needed to have, like, like a paragraph, and I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
But the idea that we had was to have um, all of the creatures of the Underdark were suddenly forced up out of the Underdark, and they're
Oh,
like, "What the hell's going on?" So you're in Neverwinter, and you start seeing hook horrors coming out of the ground. You start seeing Illithids fleeing and coming out of the Underdark, and
no,
you're sent as
no.
a group of companions to go investigate, and you
Baroda,
discover
go
that
away.
Enzo Berenson is having a civil war, and that's the
For this.
premise.
I volunteer as tribute. I'm for this.
Wait, you got something against Clarota? What's up?
I'm for this.
But
I wish at the time.
well, the question I was,
It is a lot for sure.
yeah, the question I was going to pose is, if Terrifying, obviously you've seen campaigns 1 and 2 and 3. As a DM, is there anything about Matt's way of doing things that you look at and go, huh, that's actually a really good way to do things? Like, is there anything that he does that like inspires you as a DM? to kind of incorporate into your own method, or do you just try to do your own thing? We'll get to Vox Machina, don't worry about it.
Matt has a way about him. Matt doesn't command respect from his table, but he gets it. And it's returned to them. Like that amongst everything in a DM, if I could do that, it would be great. The trust that his players have for him is beyond ridiculous. I loved, if I can do some spoilers, should we put like a spoiler warning for campaign 3? Because I don't know what we're supposed to do here. Um, I'll try to be vague. Uh, there was a spot where they're doing a trust exercise where it's Taliesin, Laura, and Travis, I think. Um, and they're blindfolded. The three of them are blindfolded, and he has this map, and he makes all his maps, and his maps
Are
are
gorgeous.
phenomenal. Like, yeah, beyond anything that I could ever possibly dream of. And I find myself to be creative as far as writing. I can't do art worth of crap, but writing. Um, and the other players have to guide them through this map, and the trust that I would love the trust for the players, um, and myself, as well as I really like his way of doing initiative. He doesn't go around the table and say, all right, Taliesin, all right, Travis, all right, Liam. He goes 20 to 25, 15 to 20, 10 to 15. Like, such a time saver. And he groups, from what looks like, all of his enemies into one initiative. So I've kind of been trying to adapt to that. Thank you for that warning, spoiler warning. I was like, I'm gonna try to be vague here with this.
Some of this stuff you just can't. Like some of this is going to be hard to be vague with, especially
Like,
when we really dive into, especially campaigns 1 and 2. Because I'm not finished with 3. I'm on episode like 25. But
I would love to do that, and it's a great idea. And just like I said, the trust that he has for his players and his players have for him is. I mean, you can tell, as Hermit was saying, you can tell they've been playing together for 9 years, but they're also friends off the table, and they can sit there and yell at each other in character and hate each other in character, and then walk away from the table and go, "Let's go get a drink."
the amount of times I've seen like behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, but like interviews where they're asked about like that very thing. Um, like that, like they can yell at each other, especially the one bit in campaign 1, Scanlan. Um, like like they're just apologizing afterwards, like I am so sorry, I love you. But
But
yeah,
to swing back around, I was never a fan of Scanlan. Like Scanlan, I can't say never. I can't say never because I just lied to all of you.
The gift.
listen,
When Scanlan first came on the scene, I was like, "Are you joking me?" Like,
He's an abhorrent character, though. Like,
he becomes a
really not.
triceratops though, like come on, it's got
Well,
my vote.
he's the cliche, but then there's depth to him, right? But that takes time.
Yeah,
right.
And which is why I understand why you wouldn't like him as a character, because it's like, oh, a horny bard, what a surprise, right? But in the case of Scanlan, there's a depth to it where it's kind of like, yeah, the facade of being the center of attention is a mask in order to deal with his own intimacy issues, right?
Right.
yeah.
So it takes time. It's like one of those characters that does take time. Like you're right, it does take time to like them.
Yeah. Definitely took me a minute to really like him, but eventually it just gets to the point, at least it did for me, where it's just like, yeah, I liked it. But going back to like the animated show, um, um, Hermit, like when it comes to the story that is being like told in the animated show, like what do you like most about it? Like the characters, the story, the lore. Like what is it that just keeps you coming back?
There is a normalcy within the fantasy realm, within the storytelling, that I think that's really profound. You have fantastic characters that have incredible abilities, but they have a certain kind of like each one has their own particular personal quirk that they have to deal with. Where Percival is from royalty, has a really hard time dealing with the fact that he's fallen in with a group of people that are a bunch of misfits that essentially are not really secure in who they are or are too secure. You have someone like Rog, who you think is like, oh, he's obviously always been just, full on because he's a barbarian, but the truth is that he drastically changed from being just a murderer because of his relationship with Pike, and their relationship is the catalyst for Pike becoming, um, for having a struggle with their own piety. So you have all of these interesting characters that, while you could be drawn into, certain like their class, their abilities, even the art, how they're portrayed, the real thing that's most interesting, that I think that is most relatable, is that you have these characters that are dealing with very understandable experiences, understandable personal journeys, and that's what makes them relatable and enjoyable to kind of watch and to connect with. I think one of the funniest characters is Vaxeldan. A lot of people saying he's kind of what's the word? Not myopic. I'm trying to think of the word. Anemic, right? So he's the sneaky thief character. His issue of not really being able to connect with people is because he's essentially been trying to be there for his sister the entire time, and he doesn't know who he is without her. All the while, she has unresolved issues with her father and being loved, and unfortunately, those are then actually projected onto her relationship with her brother, to where she finds it a little bit irritating sometimes at how protective he is, because it's not him who she's trying to connect with.
Yeah.
He's trying to fill a role that isn't his to fill. So at first in in the series, I think the attraction to Vaxeldan and Vexalia is that they are sort of the cool brother and sister that have this mysterious past. And it's only in season 2 where we really start to discover the depth as to why they don't really open up about themselves. And then you have Keyleth, who arguably, in my mind, has the potentiation to be the most powerful because of what she is, and she is completely insecure in who she is because of the loss of her mother. And we see this show up in various ways with her experiences, where you know you have the first interaction with Brimscythe, where they have a mountain dropped on them, and who saves their dumb butts because they essentially powered him up? It's Keyleth. She saves them, and I know that this is sort of silly, but I got really giggly when they said thanks for the shrub, Keyleth. Because of the stuff.
I wonder where the
Um,
connection is there.
yeah. And then we have Scanlan, and it's interesting because a lot of people said, like, you only relate to Scanlan because of the bard thing. It's like, no, and it's something that, like, I'm not really going to talk about it too much here, but watching Scanlan's journey with his intimacy is that I've never really been someone that is very what's the word? I'm not a flirtatious human being, but I'm a romantic. And despite Scanlan's kind of devil may care attitude within the realm of being an entertainer and being sort of a showman, he's a hopeless romantic. he flings all of who he is or what he thinks people wants at people in the hope that they can handle him. And that reminded me of myself in my younger years. And so to me, it was kind of like I was very much, whenever I dated someone, I was like, this is all of who I am. And it scared the crap out of people. So that's why I think Scanlan is a really, really brilliant character because it shows that even when you are being unfilteringly yourself, there is a line where you have to learn how to develop rapport with people in order to create a deepening relationship. Because if you go full bore and full on at someone all the time, it can frighten them because maybe they're not really willing to be all of that themselves that quickly with somebody else. Um, and then I'm trying to think of who else we haven't really touched on. Pike. Pike, to me, is a very interesting character in the fact that she deals with the paradox of piety and debauchery. We don't have to talk about this too much, but I do see this a lot in the world where there is a lot of talk about being overtly religious, but can you be a spiritual human being while also being a bit of a degenerate? And the answer is as long as your actions are not causing harm to others, you can be that holy person. And Pike struggles with that until we have that experience with the Everlight, right? Where basically stop lying to yourself. And that episode, I think, is probably one of the most emotionally important episodes, despite some of the other within the 2 seasons. I think that arc actually, if you look at it from a psychological standpoint, is probably one of the most important pieces of Vox Machina's history to date within that show
Yeah,
because it deals with the self in such a raw and intimate way.
definitely.
End of tirade.
Durf, you got anything to follow up with that?
I mean, how do you follow that?
Sorry,
Um,
Turfendiel.
Really,
God,
really
I don't
can't.
even know if I remember the question anymore. No, you kind of got me when you were talking about Scanlan because you don't really see Scanlan like you see Scanlan as like the funny bard, like I want to, everything and everyone kind of deal. Um, but it was for me in season two. It was the season one Ty Turner for me was definitely where he was like, "Let me do what I do best. Let me be annoying. Let me go wreak havoc." I was like, "All right, maybe I'll give this dude a chance." And then
Honestly,
he,
that was my favorite episode of season one.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
And then you see him in season two when they're all trying to beat the Sphinx for information about the vestiges, and yeah,
Wound me.
yeah, dude, yeah, dude.
Oh, if you can wound me, you
Yeah.
use the word wound.
Like, I really love. Wait, like that. Everyone's thinking, okay, so we gotta draw blood, we gotta stab it, we gotta cut it, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. He sings a song about the Sphinx being separated from his lover, and it's like, oh,
The tear,
yeah.
right?
And then at the end of it, when oh hey guys, yeah, we're cool. This is the wisest sage I've ever met, and the entire team is like, the
Flat-jawed.
fuck?
Huh? Yeah.
Which, by the way, that might have been my favorite song, like in the show. Is that song he sang there?
You even see it with Scanlan to where Scanlan was like, "Well, let me just do something dumb," and then he was like, when the Sphinx was like, "Yeah, you've done what no mortal can do," he was like, "Holy shit!" Like,
I got
what?
this.
Like, yeah. So, um, definitely the page turner as far as Scanlan's concerned for me. Um, and I don't remember the question, Nate. I'm sorry.
No, it was just a. What was it about the show? Like, obviously, like with us, like Sheriff, like we've seen the campaign, so obviously the TV show. And Hermit, you said you hadn't seen a lot of the campaign at all, so it's like, so
Not really. I didn't even know that there was I only retroactively found out that there was a Dragonborn that was removed from the
Yeah,
campaign.
that's a whole
That's a whole other thing, which
that's a whole
I had nothing to
conversation
say.
that we're not supposed to talk
The
about.
one character that we didn't really touch on though was Grog fully. Like we sort of mentioned it, but I think that in season 2, one of the most profound. I mean, they all go through that, right? They all go through it, but Grog coming face to face with a monk, and
Who
he's
is
been
Pike's
this.
grandfather?
No,
No,
not the monk. He's talking about
Oh.
where do you get your strength
where do
Oh,
you
oh,
get your
okay,
in
okay.
strength?
in Vasselheim?
Right, right,
In
right.
Vasselheim,
Okay.
I'm
And
blanking on his name,
that
but
I can't remember his name either. But that was a really that one kind of hit me a bit hard because I've always been the counselor for my friends. I've always been the emotionally strong friend for everybody else. And I don't know if you guys knew this. I was actually training to be an MMA fighter
ooh,
for years. I grew up doing Muay Thai, kickboxing, grappling, Shotokan, Eskrima, which is machete fighting, and Western longsword fighting. And one of my teachers was Chuck Liddell, who was the middleweight champion of the world at one point.
oh,
Um, and I stopped doing it because I ended up starting getting injured as a young man. And we left it, but I've always loved martial arts, and I've kept practicing since I stopped going to the gym. But to watch Grog get his ass handed to him
on a silver platter.
reminded me a lot of my experiences with my own teachers because after a while I stopped going to the classes and my teacher would take me out to parks, and instead of we're going to do forms, he would say I want you to figure out why you were learning to fight. And at first it was, well, I'm tired of being picked on. Is like, that's, I understand that, but that's not good enough. And it was from sitting and meditating with him and talking about why do you fight. So I want to protect the people in my life that I become friends with so they never have to experience the bullying and the horror of being shamed and hurt like I did. And that's where Grog's story of where does his strength come from. He is despite everyone thinking that he's a muppet, right? He is the big bear that keeps everyone from being killed. A lot of the time, he is the meat shield. Everyone's like, "Oh, barbarians are just, they're dumb and they're big and they're crazy." It's like, actually, they're the one that soaks up all the damage, so none of you get murdered.
Yeah. By the
So
way, how dare we go through like all the different characters and nobody mentioned Trinket.
Oh, well, if you were going to talk about the show, that is such a footnote. It's not even fair. I love Trinket, but I feel like they did them dirty. Okay, you have a bear named Trinket, and all we do learn their story in season 2, but it's just kind of like, all right, so why does the party keep going everywhere without their bear? Is it a running joke that in Vox Machina, in terms of the actual series of D&D games, they're like, oh yeah, did you guys bring Trinket? Oh right, we forgot to do Trinket's rolls. That's what it feels like. Is like, is it a silent gag that Trinket is there but not? Because it's Vixalia's companion. They're a ranger,
Yeah.
which reminds me of Pathfinder's Hunter class, um, which is underrated, and you can have a level 10 character do, I think, 23 attacks if you do it right.
Jeez.
Pathfinder's crazy, but it's a lot of math.
Oh, I'm
But
out.
yeah, Trinket's underrated, and at the same time, I'm only saying that because I know absolutely bollocks all about Trinket.
Yeah, Sam and Trinket. We'll get into that when we get into like the D&D stuff.
Best scene ever. I don't know. Scanlan gave me this treat and I died.
um, so I had a connection here and I lost it.
That's okay.
Between the two seasons and like the two storylines that we're seeing. Obviously, season 2, it's not finished yet. But between the battle for Whitestone, or the hunt for the vestiges to take down the Chroma Conclave, like overall, like which story do you prefer? Obviously, the Chroma Conclave is a lot of like they're fighting dragons, but
That's hard to answer, Nate, because we're not done yet.
yeah, well, that's
Right.
only thus far. And I was so ready for tonight, and now my brain is just not working right.
That's okay. Um, if you don't mind, Turfendiel, I have a thought about that
Go
kind
for
of
it.
immediately.
I was gonna let you take it anyway because
Okay.
I was gonna let you take it anyway. I
um,
have thoughts. I just
My thoughts aren't working right now, and I hate it.
So I would much rather have the unbiased one go.
I think that if we're speaking from as someone that has only watched the series so far, that season 2 of Vox Machina is incredible in the fact that you're getting a lot more of the world sort of tied together, and there's really more of an impending sense of doom. But I think it's a little bit jarring because our first experience with the first season, we're dropped in with the Vox Machina crew, probably not in their first adventure. It's just the most natural starting point for them to begin the show, and that's my guess. Because I listened to a little bit of the first bit of the series, but I think that if we're gonna go based off of seasons in terms of the most emotionally interesting story so far, I think season 1 feels more like a complete arc, whereas season 2 feels kind of like, and I hate to make a Star Wars analogy, but I'm going to. It does feel a lot like Empire. Um, you have a real sense of how big the world is. And while that's interesting and you learn a lot of the backstory of various characters, I think that season 1 of Vox Machina did such a good job of making you invested in the characters that season 2, being a spiritual successor, was enjoyable, but not nearly as emotionally intriguing to me because we're trying to fit in a lot of the scene of what's going on within that realm into a short amount of time. And I'm not saying that there aren't, intense emotional bits in season 2. I just feel like season 1 showcased enough of each character to where that's more of a complete story arc. Whereas season 2 is kind of like, here's a taste of what's to come. Here's tidbits of why these characters are the way that they are. Here's relationships that we didn't really anticipate. Here's some things that we have to deal with, because we had to deal with. Percy's inner demon. That's been pretty interesting. That's an ongoing issue, right? But season 1, I think, probably is, it might just be because of the novelty of it becoming kind of nostalgia. It's not. I shouldn't call it nostalgia. It's not been out that long, but the novelty of, if someone said, if you can only watch one season of Vox Machina right now for the next 6 months, and you can only watch it once, which one would you watch? Say season 1, obviously, because
Interesting.
that one in particular sets up the palette for you to be emotionally invested. If you forgot everything that happened in Vox Machina after 8 months and you went back to season 2, still good, you're gonna be a bit confused as to why the characters are the way they are. The intricacies between Baxeldan and Keyleth and their pseudo-ish, not really romantic relationship, because of her dealing with the fact, like, I'm supposed to be the leader of my entire people, and you're a half elf who's good with pointy knives, who is related to an elven royal who doesn't really give a crap about you.
An Elven
Dad
Royal
sucks.
jackass.
Yeah, Elven Royal Dad sucks, right? In season 2, it's just kind of like, wow, I wanted some emotional response from the father of Axel and Vixalia, and all he got was, "Oh, you're here? That's irritating." Which I know is a lot more deep in terms of like, "Oh, my feels." That's really
Yeah.
hideous.
By the way,
But
Troy
the
Baker
first
nails that role.
yeah. But the first season, I think, also, we have characters that are so insidious. The Briarwoods. The
Those guys.
interesting about them is that you can relate to them. in a way.
No.
The noticing that essentially that the I can't remember the name of the wife. I feel bad. Yeah,
Delilah.
Delilah um is desperate to save her husband and essentially becomes ensorcelled by dark powers, and it's all born out of the desperate place of the worry of lost love. And so while these characters are hideous, while you know that all of their crew, killed the killed all of Percy's family, there is a humanity to them that makes them interesting and intriguing, not necessarily to relate to, but you can understand them. And that's sort of the interesting thing about season one is that you have villains that you can relate to because you understand their motives. We don't really get to understand by the end of season one what the hell they were really trying to do. I think they're just trying to fulfill a magical bargain to bring the Whispering One into the world, which I tried not making any jokes about the name of that, which I'm not going to go into now because it's really juvenile.
It's hey,
I'll explain later.
it's what we're here. Like, listen, don't hesitate.
Uh,
Meta.
Don't hesitate. Like, if you've seen half
you
of
don't
my
need to look
chats
this
on,
up, friends, but most of you probably won't know this. I like Elizabethan era and Shakespearean slang words. Whispering One and Whispering Eye, and the eye showed up. I went, that's hilarious. Look it up. Don't look it up, actually. If you want to know, just come and ask me privately. I'm just not going to say it out loud. But pretty much the interesting thing about season one is how complete it felt, and how much it brought you in. Whereas season two, it is hard to identify with the dragon when they are in fact just historically the symbol of everything humanity is terrified: voracious greed, calamity, not understanding their motives, because everyone's like, dragons are just greedy. I'm like, it's more than that, way more than that. And that's what makes them so terrifying, is that you cannot relate to a being of such enormity and such power. Um, and so while that's interesting to me, it wasn't nearly as emotionally relatable as season one. Really.
yeah, and I get that was an unfair question because, like, well, season two, like, the Chroma Conclave story is not finished yet.
Mm-hmm.
We still have maybe if they could potentially wrap it up in season three. It'd be a stretch.
Depends on the number of episodes, right? Because I think it's like 12 each.
Yeah, it's 12
I
each.
remember.
Theoretically, like, could wrap it up in
If
12
they
episodes
extend them to an hour-long episode each, that might do it.
because there's so
45.
much left between uh, the Umbrasyl fight and the final fight against Thordak. Which, by the way, rest in peace, Lance Reddick. Um, just the man nails every role he does, but him as Thordak, just like, I'm going to miss that. So
So, respectfully on this, Hermit, I'm gonna disagree and say that I would tell people to, as much, again, because I'm biased and I love Percival DeRollo, um, but I would actually, I think that you get more of the story and character background in season two than you do in one, because one, it's all about Percy and
Mm-hmm.
his story. So I feel like, because you can always go back, like how they end the Chroma Conclave on season one, they still restart with that. So you still see the dragons attacking Iman. Um, and you don't get the, crap, I forgot his name from season one. Um, and I want to call him the Ice Dragon, and I don't think that's what he was.
Grimscythe.
Thank you. You don't get that story and like the coming to power, coming to be of Vox Machina in the town of Amal. Iman, sorry, Amal's mine. Um, but you still get backstory in all of the other characters. and you kind of sort of, I feel like, get a little bit of Percival with Anna Ripley, but not so much. From when he goes into
Gun shop.
the gun shop.
Victor.
Um,
Freaking love Victor.
and then if you want to go back and watch Percy's story, then it's there.
Which is season 1.
Right, which is season 1. I have a biased hatred toward the Briarwoods and Cassandra DeRollo, but that's because, I'm biased towards Percival.
Wait. You hate Cassandra?
Yes, I do.
Oh, we're gonna dive into that here in a little bit.
I do. I don't trust her. Still. And I will probably never trust her. Ever.
Also, Hermit, time check, by the way. Did you want to go for like 5 more
10
minutes,
minutes.
or? Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. Didn't want to make you late for anything. But I'm like,
To make it easy, I'll pull up where it's a Zoom call and I'll start seeing it populate, and that's when I'll look at you and be like, "I love you. I have to go."
this is fine. But I'm like, Hermit, you don't really know what all is to come, do you?
Not at all.
All right, cool. So that.
Yeah, I'm so this is the if someone's listening to the podcast, it's like, oh, so we're doing a recap of Critical Role's initial stuff through the show.
No, that's
There we go.
Absolutely.
You know.
No, that talk starts in about 10 minutes.
Oh, crap.
But
To really dive into.
oh, I'm excited. Like,
Call myself Miss Chappie. I mean, what? No one knows.
well, I was gonna ask like if there's anything that you were excited about for season 3, or just the future of the Legend of Vox Machina, or the upcoming Mighty Nine animated TV show, which you
Don't
know even less than anything about.
Anything about Mighty Nine. Vox Machina season 3. I think I'm, and I want to amend because my previous opinion was about which season I was most emotionally invested in. In
Well,
terms of story, season 2 does flush out your characters, so it is much more interesting. But I think without an introduction, and again, you're right, it is about Percival DeRollo. Is the first
yeah.
season is really just about Percy. But I think that, I mean, considering Scanlon nearly slept with his daughter, which was terrifying. I can't imagine how he's managing that thing, especially going like, "Oh, it was so and so." No. "Oh, it was so and so." No. "Oh, it was so and so." Nope. I was like, "Oh my god, bro, my dude." Like, your basilisk needs taming, sir.
Stop.
You know.
Which, by the way, most of the lines there were like verbatim, like from the campaign.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting to kind of witness what's happening, and I think the character that what I'm most interested to see, even though Scanlon is realistically the character that I'm mostly interested in, is the character that I've started to fall more in love with, who I think is kind of the dark horse in terms of the story, is Vaxildan's story with being, essentially
Champion of
the
of
vested.
the Ravenwing.
Yeah, and the ramifications of how he was sort of pushed away from Keyleth due to her pushing him away. And now that he's unavailable, Keyleth is kind of like, where's any of the warmth? He's like, I am Death's emissary. My
Yeah,
life is to be. I will be an undead being at some point. Like, that's he looks at his future, and that's what he faces is like the undead, vestige of the Raven, right? And so you have this very dark future for him, where it's like you have no room for love anymore, despite the fact that you were the one that wants it. And I'm saying that from the standpoint of the show, because
yeah.
I'm sure that there's a lot more to do with the campaign than that. But it's actually kind of heart wrenching to watch Keyleth kind of go, oh no, is that ship really passing in the night? Did I miss it? Just because I was insecure about what I needed to do, because you can tell that she wants to
Yeah.
be with someone. But I'm really interested to see what's going to happen because, and again, it's spoilers. Please don't tell me. I know nothing at all. I know that Vaxildan stays as a character within the party for an amount of time. But if you only were watching the show, it's like Vaxildan could easily become the next villain after the Chroma Conclave is actually destroyed. Easily, in my mind, just from a writing standpoint. But that's not going to happen. Unless it is, and suddenly this podcast is like, that guy's an idiot. He doesn't
Are
even
you
know.
sure about that?
I will.
Are you sure about that?
I will
John
defend.
Cena me
I will defend
to the
you until the
ground.
day I die.
You know, I was a little bit peeved that the sword got taken. That irritated the hell out of me. I hate that dragon. I'm sorry, but your entire insides got cut up by a Vorpal weapon, and you still flying away. It just goes to show you that dragons suck to deal with. Um, I'm excited to see what happens with Grog because his character is going to. They're going to grow him up really fast, and you already sort of see that throughout the entire show. I think one of my favorite lines from season one is, "Got feelings on the inside. They don't feel good."
I'm
It's like,
feeling
okay, fine.
things.
You know, so yeah, I'm with you. And everyone's like, "That was actually kind of well said, Grog."
What?
You know,
Never mind.
and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens because there is also a power struggle within the Chroma Conclave itself, where the Red Dragon is obviously the leader, but I don't think that all of them truly have the same um desires. They are unified by maybe a single strand of what they all sort of want, and it's going to be interesting to
Well, they also
see how
established that dragons are usually loners, so the fact that
it's unusual
you
to have
had
them working in
four
groups.
working together, it's like, huh?
The true calamity event. I do really hope that Vasselheim gets its butt kicked. That was really irritating to watch. Where it's like, we are the strongest capital in the entire world. Will we help you? No. Get
You
it
you
forward
have
and
our
die.
thoughts and prayers, but
Yeah,
apart from
great.
that, be gone.
Thoughts and prayers, dude. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Good luck. Um, so that is a bit interesting to see what's going to happen. I'm actually kind of curious. I don't know if they're ever going to bring back the woman Sphinx because of it being the patron of the hunt. I'm curious what the other vestiges are and how they're going to relate to each other. I don't know how many there are, which is another interesting thing. And I'm curious because Turfendiel blades something slip.
What I do?
The
What I let slip?
Briarstone lady is not dead, and I thought she was.
When did you say
She's
that?
coming back.
When did I say that?
You don't trust her,
No, she's talking about Cassandra,
Cass.
Sandra?
Percy's
Yeah,
sister.
Percy's sister.
Oh! God dang it. Cass is still sus. You're right. Cass is still sus. Definitely.
So I will say, like, out
Sorry.
of all of this,
I was like, wait, did I miss something in the show? Did Cass
No,
die
I'm an
and I not
idiot.
know
Cassandra
it?
Derolo. Come on, dude. Sorry.
I will say, like, even though you've only seen the animated series, just like hearing your like predictions and like just your mindset, not knowing anything that was coming up, because that's one of the things that me and Turf kind of. On one hand, like I'm sure I speak for her when I say this. Like we're excited to see what the future seasons we're going to have, but at the same time, we know what's going to happen. The bottom line. So we're not really going in this blind, whereas you have no idea. And so, like, no, just hearing your thoughts and predictions, I'm like, this is fun.
You're in for it, dude.
You're in for some shit.
It only
Yeah.
gets worse from here, Hermit.
Well, that's fine. I mean, that's good storytelling. I think the enamoring aspect of what Critical Role has done is they've managed to truly kind of capture the concept of mythos, and I think that if I can kind of tangent and come back to Critical Role, one of the interesting things about other stories that I've seen that have sort of, I don't want to say failed, but they've not lived up to their successors, is that a lot of the stories that we love are really deeply rooted in particular kinds of archetypes and sorts of struggles within certain kinds of heroic journeys. And so I think I'm actually curious to see if Matt Mercer has done some research into I feel bad now because it'd be a lot more of a complete thought if I remember his name. George Lucas had a mentor that was like the scholar on mythos, hero's journey, the stories that really have kind of lasted the test of time, King Arthur, etc. I know that Tolkien studied him as well in order to create, stories that really kind of captured our imaginations. For you realize, like Tolkien wrote this, he was in World War One. These stories have been around for nearly 100 years, and we're still talking about them. What Critical Role, I think, has managed to do is to look at the aspects of um, within the last 100 years, some of the better stories that have complete characters, good storyline, good writing, and meaningful experiences that they have within their own experiences. Each voice actor has brought a lot of their interpretation of those particular niche important aspects of mythos into Critical Role. And it's not just their ability to be engaging as voice actors, which really helps, right? The instrument that captures your attention is the face, the voice, the acting in of itself, but it's their own personal experience, I think, that relates to their enjoyment of story that makes Critical Role so prolific. And that's why I think it's successful. Not because they're solely interesting people, but because they understand what makes a good story. And I know I'm not going to really be here for the whole thing of it, but I know that a lot of people are like, Matt Mercer doesn't write all of his own content. You can't when you get that big. Don't judge that. You know, can't do all of it. You know, but I think that they're an incredible group that has essentially created a love for a game and for a style of storytelling that I think will start improving what we'll see in film and cinema. And if there are any people in Tinseltown, Hollywood, start paying attention to what Critical Role does, because the other stories so far have made me kind of want to fall asleep. I'm sorry.
Not
Um,
wrong.
yeah, I'm like the MCU. I thought was the hopeful thing, but Critical Role really so far, it's like that's what I'm looking forward to. I think game developers could take a I mean, honestly, if Larian Studios wanted to do Baldur's Gate 3, the successor, they should do The Legend of Vox Machina in the
Listen,
same
I'm
style.
begging for a Critical Role video game, and Matt and Travis
It's
have said
already
like they want
written.
to. They want to. Just
They did
give
say
me.
like, well, the stories are already written, everybody knows it. Who cares? Some of us want to make those
Mm-hmm.
decisions.
Do you
Take
know
as
how?
much time as Larian did with Baldur's Gate 3 and make nuance. You can either there's a way to have the exact storyline that follows Vox Machina, and then there are 3,000 permutations of how it
Yeah,
might not.
yeah. Like, how many times are you gonna play through like the Star Wars saga? How many times are you gonna play through Dragon Ball Z from the Sand Saga to the Boo Saga? Like we've seen this 1,000 times. It's how you deliver it. It's how you
Yeah.
make the product worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, also just from a DM standpoint, I think the interesting thing there is and I still have time, and I really appreciate you looking at the time for me. So I'm watching. There is a double-edged sword with Matt Mercer's style of dungeon mastering, and they call it the Mercer effect, right? Everyone expects a DM to be like Matt Mercer.
Mm.
This is not a good basis for judging a game. I think the benefit of what Matt Mercer has done is he's made the game more accessible. He's made it more prevalent. He's created more opportunities for writers and developers to create more wonderful things. And he's created an opportunity for people to be inspired by him and his crew.
Mhm.
And I think it's unrealistic for anyone that's like, oh, I've only just seen Critical Role, so every game in D&D is like that. It's like, of course not. That's like saying, I decided to watch a particular like that. I don't know how to put this. That's like watching a sport in a native land that is its native sport, and saying that's going to be like what's everywhere else, right? It's like, no, you muppet, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
And that is that's I think one of the challenges that we're sort of experiencing right now, just in terms of the Dungeon Dragons community, is tempering the expectation of what a D&D campaign can be based off of what is the most prevalent experience that you see around you. And if you can, I really wish that Critical. I don't know if they have. Please correct me if they have. I really wish Critical Role would do an entire podcast on basically dismantling that mythos to allow people to feel like I can run my D&D game and not feel insecure because I'm not Matt Mercer. That would be a brilliant thing for them to do.
So, but unfortunately, especially speaking from a DM standpoint of view, it's going to happen. Please don't come
Yeah.
to my table expecting Matt Mercer. I am not a 9-year dungeon master, nor am I a professional voice actor. But that still doesn't mean that I'm not going to sit here. And I am already sitting here and comparing myself as a dungeon master to Matt Mercer and to Brennan Lee and to Abria. Um, so it's going to happen, unfortunately. Uh,
I'm just saying it would be
and
nice if they did it,
yeah,
right? You know?
you're right.
Matt! Give us some rope, dude!
If Matt wants to personally come and teach me how to be a DM, I'm for it. Let's go. When and where? I will be in California in about 5 seconds.
I
Like,
got you,
give
fam.
me a day. Like,
I will somehow learn instant transmission.
No,
I'll make it happen, Captain.
We had that experience with my friend, which I would love you guys to meet, Sir Grimwolf, Dwarlin's
Great.
partner,
Great guy.
where he had that moment, and I had to look at him and I said, like, no, the you need to stop comparing yourself, and that's easy to say, like Turfendiel, like you were saying, you're telling me to what? That is way easier said than done.
Absolutely.
But it's a process, right? And I think with any sort of creative endeavor, you need to be surrounded with people that are going to be honest with you as well. I think the other aspect of being a dungeon master is picking your players. And with that, friends, I have to go.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Really love having you on. Just anytime.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll
Take care, everyone.
Just saying.
Good luck.
Love you. Take care.
Fix this real quick.
But yeah, he touched on it, actually a very good point as far as DMing. It's your players and who you pick your players. I lucked out. My players are fantastic, all of them. I am the worst, especially being not a critter. About comparing myself to Matt Mercer. And I think Sora Deity has definitely shot me in the face a couple times because Sora has and Elfie has. Because we look at our own campaigns and we go, why aren't my campaigns like his? Why can't I be that?
Because he's been playing D&D for like 30 years.
And we're not professional voice actors.
Yeah.
Like, end scene. Hard stop.
That's an interesting thing to bring up, because it's one thing I find myself doing over the course of like this bench fest. Because I watched all of campaign 1. I've watched all of campaign 2. I've watched all of Legends of Vox Machina. And I'm 22 episodes into campaign 3. And like I said at the start, I've been a fan of Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham for over 20 years. I've been a fan of Matt and like all of them, like, for their voice acting roles. But when it comes to Critical Role, like, that's really changed my viewpoint on them. Because yes, in the back of my mind, I know they're voice actors. Obviously, they're good at this. But at the same time, I don't view them as that. I view them as friends playing D&D.
which is what they are at the end
Yeah,
of the day. And Matt has said that um, in
like
interviews and in spots. That's all they are.
yeah,
That's when it comes down to it. Critical Role wasn't started to let's make it famous. They all have 9 to 5 day jobs. Um, Critical Role was made for them to sit down and escape the world, um, and dive into their own fantasy life, like to not to jump into like life and religion and politics, but life sucks.
it does. It does. It's a dumpster fire, and the 4 hours that that they sit there and just play the game, like it's an escape. That's it's the
Right.
same. It's the same reason. Like I don't know how it is with you mentally. Streaming is my escape from all that bullshit. It's my chance to just forget about all the problems in the world. I can just sit here, play my game, and hang out with friends. And it's the same thing with D&D. It's just they do it on a world stage, and that's not a knock against them. It's just that's just what they do. But I love how Critical Role started, like them playing together. It was a birthday thing that Liam wanted to do. So, for those who don't know, like the quote unquote history of Critical Role, they started playing together in 2012 because Liam had always wanted to play D&D, and Matt was like, "Well, why don't I do a one shot for you for your birthday, and we'll get some people in to play." Liam loved it so much they just kind of kept it going, and then for 2 years they just stuck with it. And I can't remember who it was that inspired them to, film it, but I want to say they started that in 2014, and it's been here we are. But how to dive into the good, I'd say the good bits, like just the heavy, like the campaigns themselves, because I'm really excited to eventually get into Mighty Nine.
I love Mighty Nine. I didn't think I was going to.
It took
I
me forever because
I didn't think I was going to.
I was fresh off of Vox Machina, and then I started Mighty Nine, and it was a struggle the first 20 plus episodes, and I can't even tell you when it clicked. But now I almost prefer Mighty Nine, but we'll get into that later. Sit and hang with worries and make a story with my friends. D&D is truly a game of connection. I want to play D&D.
Sucking up to your DM will not help Seraph 7 Sora.
But like I when it comes to like D&D history, I played a little bit of Hunter the Reckoning in high school. But growing up in the family that I did, I couldn't commit to meeting up with everybody every Saturday. Because living on a farm, it just couldn't do it. Um, Fast forward to 2018, I finally started playing with some people, but in a 5-hour session, we played for maybe 30 minutes. The rest of it was them talking about anything other than the game. And I want to learn how to play because even playing Baldur's Gate, um, I've gone through like 7 characters and I've deleted a lot of the ones I don't touch anymore. I have a hard time differentiating what the character would do versus what I, the player, do. And that's one thing I want to learn how to do, and I just haven't had the proper opportunity. But even now, like committing to something like that, almost impossible.
So it's funny that you say that because I also have a million playthroughs of Baldur's Gate 3.
I haven't beat it yet. It's still in me.
Uh, I'm working on it. I haven't. We're in Act 3, man. Me and Zora are so close. Um, Sora and I have a Crowley and Alistair run. Crowley and Alistair are Crowley is his character based off of Rumpelstiltskin and Crowley from Supernatural. And then Alistair is based off of the Hazbin Hotel radio demon, Alistair. Um, and the choices that him and it's funny that you say like to separate the two because the choices that him and I make sometimes are like I just want to pick this because I know this is what Crowley would say. Or I just want to pick this because this is absolutely something Alistair would say. I think one of the choices were like something about being small and meaningless and whatnot. But I was like, I'm just gonna pick this because this is what Alistair would pick. And yeah, so like and you also have, especially in in a live play of Dungeons and Dragons, you also have like what a lot of yourself comes through your character. Um, and I think any Dungeons and Dragons player will tell you that. Even if it's little, if it's insecurities, if it's a little bit of quirkiness. Um, I play a sorcerer bard, and I'm just chaotic and quirky as heck. And I think Sora will agree with me that I may have based it off of Alistair from Asvin, but in the year that he's known me, um, I think that he'll tell you that there's definitely some turf in Alistair as well. So I think that's
Which I
just
feel
a
like is an
natural
important
thing.
factor because at the end, like, you want to embed a little bit of yourself in the character that you're playing because it is you.
Yeah.
Critical Role.
I mean, it's
I
kind
mean, it's kind of why we're here.
of general.
I guess. Do we have to talk about it? Oh my god.
God, I was
Um.
trying not to talk about my husband.
So I finally decided to watch Critical Role back in like February or March, and I got through all of Crabhammer stuff before I decided I want to watch the animated show because I kind of want to get like a visual of these characters and seeing how much they skipped ahead. I was like, because I would have really loved to have seen the Crabhammer stuff animated, but I get why. But from everything you know and remember about the campaign compared to what is in the animated show, like, how do you, what do you think about the uh, translation has been so far?
I really like it. I think they've stayed pretty true. Um, and they've actually put there's actually they've actually put things side by side, and you can see that they're trying to stay true to
Mm-hmm.
it. Um, I'm really excited because one of my favorite, and they haven't gotten there, so hashtag spoilers. Um,
Look at the pen.
hey, anyone
The
who
pen is there.
hasn't seen
The pen is there.
um all of campaign one and or I guess it doesn't really matter because they haven't gotten to it in the animated series yet. Um, my favorite part is definitely when Robbie is like he cuts off the hand of Vecna, sticks it on him in pieces, and is out. Favorite. Oh crap! Did I ruin that for Nate? Oh shit!
Wait, you said Robbie?
Oh shit! Isn't that Robbie? Um,
That wasn't Robbie. That was,
am I getting those two mixed up? I always get those two mixed up.
yeah. Robbie didn't start playing until
Who the hell was that then?
that was a um. Oh crap, Manganello.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen all of campaign one.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
So you know what I was talking about.
yeah.
I just
I was
I
like
just got the
Robbie.
actor wrong.
Robbie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been a hot second.
And did you see that there was a kind of like a one shot after that where they had like WWE's The Big Show on there and like two other people plus Travis and Joe.
So I'm not gonna lie, my one shot knowledge is very limited to like Vox versus 99.
Oh, that's all you've seen of the one offs.
Yes.
Oh my, you're missing so much.
Sorry.
The ones that I'm talking about in particular, it's not Critical Role, it's something else. But Travis is on there as Grog, and Joe's on there as his character, and it's after the Vecna fight. And it's just really funny because I hadn't watched all of it. I'd started it, but then I decided to go back to Critical Role because I'm obsessed.
This isn't my fault because it's not Critical Role. Okay, Nate, you told me Critical Role, and then you just said that it wasn't Critical Role.
I didn't know if you thought because it's Travis and Joe and it's Grog, so I didn't know. But they're introducing themselves, and I can't remember exactly how it goes. But like Travis, like he introduced himself as Grog, and then something is said about, yeah, I cut my hand off, and then Travis just glares at Joe. It was funny. It was. I think I have it bookmarked somewhere. I'll try to find it. But is there anything that we've seen, well, like in the campaign that was cut from the Legend of Vox Machina that you wish had been in there? Up to this point, obviously, like 2 seasons.
No, I don't believe so. No, I think no.
I would say I would have liked.
I want to see. I think more. It'll come more. I just have to be patient, and I'm not a patient person. I want to see more of the relationship between Percival and Vexalia. And that is not just because I am a Percival fan. I love that relationship.
Oh, it's so good.
Like Hermit was talking about being a romantic, and the romantic in me didn't go towards Scanlan. It went towards Percy and Vex. Like, that's what I want to see.
Mine went to Jester and Ford.
So the cool thing about Jester and Ford for me, especially because I did watch. Okay, so I lied. I watched 2 one-shots. I did watch the live show recently here, that they did in London.
Mm-hmm.
So I lied. Sorry, chat.
My God, why would you lie on a podcast? How dare!
I love that thing that came about because Laura was talking to Travis, and Travis was so set on not being in a relationship in D&D.
I think it was less that and more he wanted to try to avoid like having his character be in a relationship with his wife's character. But Laura was like, I feel like it was between campaigns when they were trying to figure out Mighty Nine. I'm gonna romance you. No, you're not. Yeah. And then it just the cutest thing, and I love it.
Yeah. So that whole thing during a live show, again, I don't want to spoil anything. That whole thing made me go, what?
You want to know what? You want to know what got me about that? It's been 7 years, Ford.
Factual.
But one thing that I wish they had done in The Legend of Vox Machina. All respect to the voice actor, he did a pretty good job. I wish Matt had voiced Gilmore. That's
fair.
Because that's one of my favorite things in the campaigns is the shop keep. that they have, because campaign 1 has Gilmore, and just him and Liam as Gilmore and Vax was always a joy to watch.
Fair.
Campaign 2, we had Puma, and I'm excited to see him animated. And I hope Matt voices him. And I haven't really discovered who Campaign 3 is yet. If Campaign 3 even has one.
I don't think they do.
The closest thing I can think of is that one girl. I can't remember her name. But I'm still learning stuff. Like right now, they just got to the one place off the skyship. I don't know. But
Yes, and I love it because Fern and Ashton have their great little powers and they're running around acting like children, and I love it.
Where you're at, or where I'm at?
Oh, where I'm at, not where you're at.
Oh, I was about to say.
Sorry, spoilers.
I don't care. I'm gonna see it eventually. It doesn't bother me. Like I after that one night when you came in, you were talking about how Allison fucked up.
Yo, Taliesin done. Oh, he done fucked. I was even mad at Taliesin.
Like I looked it up. I was like, you motherfucker.
I was mad at Taliesin for that.
But is there anything like in the future of Vox Machina that you want to see in the animated show? Like even like this, I want to see them do more of the small stuff, like the quote unquote slice of life type stuff. I hope they do the bathtub scene.
Yes, abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freak. If they don't, I'm personally writing to Matt Mercer and telling him that he fucked up. Personally. Of course, I guess at that point, though, it wouldn't be Mercer, it would be Travis.
No, I don't think Travis. No, Travis. I think. I think it's both. Because I know Travis is the CEO.
You know what? Whoever checks their email is going to get a nasty letter from this non-critter.
That the love potion scene needs to happen.
Absolutely. It's the scene that made me be here today. Like, if it's not, I will absolutely. They will also get another angry letter.
I'm trying to remember when in the story does Scanlan start using the mansion? They would have used it at this point, right? Or had they?
You're asking me to go back and pull back knowledge.
Either way, I hope we get the mansion.
What else?
Seeing the transition from Scanlan to Terry. I hope they do that in the same episode. I really do.
I want to see. Okay, you know what I want to see as far as Scanlan? I want to see what's my mother's name.
I'm not ready for that scene.
I want to see that scene.
Like, I do. Because, okay, this is one thing I noticed. Like, the Legend of Vox Machina. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out how to word this without sounding stupid. With Critical Role, they're just friends playing a game and, playing D&D. With the project that is the Legend of Vox Machina, they're taking this and actually making it into like an animated series, so they actually get to they put their voice acting, like they're doing their job voice acting. Whereas over here, they have to think about what they want to say, and just wing it, which is awesome in its own because that scene we're talking about right now, like, hurt to watch, but it was so good. Um, because I've noticed like some of the scenes in The Legend of Vox Machina, especially in season one, with Percy and just dealing with all his stuff. I don't know how to word it,
Dear person, my poor Boo.
but I'm excited to see like the emotional resonance that they bring to that scene because you know they're going to like really bring it, but it's going to hurt.
Yeah, especially if they do it. I feel like I can't remember the. I feel like they need to do it sometime. I don't want to say soon, but for it to make sense because he now knows of his daughter, but they haven't done. Um, they haven't done the Pikes thing. The only thing that they've done is battle the vampires for Percy. So,
And they did the stuff with Grog.
oh, and Grog.
With
That's true. That's true with his the giants. Yeah, with his.
Keyless is an ongoing thing. Then there's Vax with the Raven Queen, but again, that's ongoing.
And I guess they did do the daddy issues. They touched on the daddy issues a little bit. So I guess technically the only thing they're missing is Pike. But I feel like that scene needs to be completed in full for it to actually still have. I mean, that's a hard scene anyway, but
Yeah. I know this, and again, this isn't a gripe to like how they do things because obviously when you're converting a D&D campaign into an animated series, you have to take some sort of liberty with it because you can't combine everything. But
right.
I wish that they had actually done the or shown like the missions with Zara, and I wish that Vex and Zara had that friendship that they have in the campaign instead of the really heated, like bitter rivalry that they have in the show. Because any like just seeing uh anytime Mary came on with the crew and just her and with Travis and Laura was always cute to watch. And so when I was first watching Legends of Vox Machina and they actively wanted to basically kill each other, I was like, whoa, 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 this isn't how what? No. My babies can't fight. That and I wanted to hear Cash say Rakshasa. But little nitpicks here and there. But the way I predict it is season 3, they'll wrap up the Chroma Conclave. Season 4 will be Harry and that whole thing. And then season that season will end with the Scanlan return. And then season 5 will be leading into Vecna. And potentially the end of it. And maybe have like a specials season with like the one-offs and stuff. I don't know. I can see that being how they go about it, but I could be wrong.
That makes sense to me. That makes sense. As much as it would hurt me for Vox Machina to end.
We're getting Mighty Nine as well,
I know.
which I'm excited for that. I'm dying for information on that.
I'm trying to be excited.
You had said before that Mighty Nine was your least favorite.
Yeah.
It's funny because it was my favorite campaign. Now, obviously, they're all good, but just something about I don't know. like obviously I love Ford and Chester because Travis is biased. But
No, we're not biased here. What is this bias
what?
stuff?
No, come on, dude.
Never,
Oh,
never, not on the
what the
Chaotic
card?
Podcast.
Not
We are
no,
never
never.
biased about our talks and our favorite characters, and it has nothing to do with the fact of that Travis plays Ford and Lara plays Jester and Taliesin plays
3 characters.
3 characters.
Which, and all the times that like we've talked about it on stream, you never mentioned Kingsley.
We don't talk about Bruno. No. We don't talk about Bruno.
But I feel like the Mighty Knight has like obviously I love Keyleth, but there's something about Bo that I just fucking love. So when it comes to like Mauritius characters, Bo is my favorite. Um, Liam with Caleb it took some getting used to him, just because of how like reserved he was to himself and like understanding with his history. But I feel like I always preferred not over Scanlan.
You liked not, huh?
You didn't? Did you not?
I did not like not way too many knots in that statement.
Can you tie a knot? I cannot. Oh, so you cannot? No, I cannot not. Not. Never mind.
But as far as my favorite Sam Riegel characters, I really like FCG.
I'm starting to see why. I really am.
I really like First Cut Grass. A lot. As far as Sam is concerned. As far as Liam is concerned, I have a bias towards Vaxeldan because I also my very first character on my own podcast was a half elf rogue. Shockingly named Turfendiel Longbow. So I kind of have bias towards Vaxeldan. I'd have to agree with you on kind of a toss up because I really like Laudna a lot.
I'm struggling too. I'm struggling too.
But I really like Laudna.
I don't know what it is. I tell you who I'm struggling to really like in terms of like personality is Orm.
Orm's been rough for me.
Like Caleb's the most fascinating character that Liam has played. I just feel like Orm is, I don't want to say a block of wood because that's disrespectful, and I love Liam. Liam, if you're listening, I love you. I didn't mean that. Forgive me.
Yes, you did, Liam.
Don't listen to her. She knows not what she speaks of.
I am the chill one. I got nothing.
I wish Dorian had stuck around.
Oh.
Because I freaking like I loved Robbie from the get-go.
Dorian.
Ashley. I never really grew to really love Yasha. I don't know why. I love Yasha. She's great, but in terms like compared to like Pike and Fern,
I'd have to say Fern.
what about Taliesin?
I did like though that she chose to play a barbarian. So like,
Oh yeah.
What do you mean? What about Taliesin? What about him?
Who's your favorite?
What about Taliesin? Oh, you're gonna make me choose.
I expected you to say yes, honestly. Yeah.
They're also great, and I'm not biased. Okay, so if we're getting down to the nitty gritty of Talison's characters, I have to go with Percival DeRollo. Um, not for any special reason, because um, but I have to go with Percy, and I have to go with DeRollo because again, Percy is the character that I that has made me not a critter. Um, I'm waiting for one of his first story to be like, "Well, you stop saying that you're not a critter because you are." Um,
Yeah, I keep noticing that you keep saying not a critter. It's like, accept your fate.
um,
Like, I haven't bought 5 books in the year that I've been a critter. I say bought. One of them was a Christmas gift. I'm so grateful.
no books.
I have the cookbook. I have the Vox Machina Origins. Which, by the way, they announced a 4th volume of that. I'm excited. I bought the 2 coloring books from Walmart. And I wasn't expecting the one book to be just art, but it's really pretty. The what's it called?
I told you I'm not one.
The Chronicles of Exandria. Oh crap! I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Mistake. Oh crap! I'll fix that later. Here we go. Okay, never mind. Ignore that. I wish I could get the slideshow statues, but like $300 a piece. He's making me pick.
He's making me back.
I can't pick this
I
one.
do have to go with Percy because yeah, he is. I knew of Mercer, and I respected Mercer as a DM. If someone came up and was like, "Do you know Mercer?" I'd be like, "Yeah, he's the dungeon master for Critical Role. What about him?" But it was Percy that actually like caught my attention and started me down the rabbit hole. So I would have to go with Percy Rollo. Close second would have to be um at the current moment, but not holding strong, Molly Mock. Um, very very close, and probably will overtake Molly. Just because uh that was ended too soon. Or rip Molly Mock. Um, Ashton Greymore.
No love for Caduceus?
I love Cat, but he just unfortunately came after Molly, and I just
You see, I don't remember Molly. Like, obviously, I watched it, but it got to a certain point where I don't remember how Molly was. All I remember was Cad and just the chill, just the vibe that he was. I was like, I can get behind this. All right, this is good. This is good. This is great.
the Cat is someone I definitely want to like sit down and try his tea and see what he puts in his tea.
Dead people.
I there's something else, okay?
Oh, I know.
That man is like way too like, you know what? Let's do this, y'all.
Dude, there's so many recipes in the cookbook. I'm like, I want to make this, 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 I want to make this. Got the black moss cupcakes in there. A bunch of jesters, which, if it makes you feel better, it's hard for me to pick my favorite Travis or Laura role.
Oh, right. What is yours?
I decided. Now, when it comes to Travis, as much as I love Grog, I have to go Ford. And with Laura, it's Jester.
I was gonna say if you say Chetney, I'm leaving this podcast right now. And it's only because I have beef with Chetney right now. So
No, Chetney's funny, but
you know, it's only because I have a beef with Chess.
like Chetney's funny, but like I said, I'm only 20 episodes in, so I don't really have a basis yet.
Oh right, you don't know about my beef with Chet yet. Might. you might not. It happened after. It was the episode after that whole thing that I was like, oh, Taliesin done fucked
Oh,
so it was like,
is it what Chetney said to Ashton after that?
yeah.
Oh, come on. Chetney was in his right.
I mean, fair. He was absolutely, absolutely. But I'm like, no, I gotta protect my baby. So
Like, listen, Chetney was in his right there because that was just bruh. But yeah, I guess it's because I don't really know much about her, but like Imogen, I don't know yet. Um, Ashton, he's a drunk asshole who likes to fight. Respect. Um, yeah,
he gets better, I promise. Well, he gets better, I promise.
but one thing that I found interesting was, after campaign 1 with Vecna and the Chroma Conclave, watching through campaign 2, I struggled to think of what they could do to kind of. And this is a mindset that I feel like I wish would just go away in everything. Because, like, this is especially, like, in the MCU, like, how are they going to top Endgame? How are they going to top Endgame? How are they going to top Endgame? And a lot of the movies are suffering because, like, oh, well, it's not as good as Endgame, so.
Endgame was really good.
Well, Endgame was also an event.
That's a different podcast.
That was a different podcast.
I could go on for that forever as well, but
don't tell me, I'll redo MCU. But the mindset that I had was, how are they gonna do something bigger than Vecna? And then watching what we were getting, I was like, oh, you know what? This makes sense. I like this. But when it comes to the completed campaigns, overall, the journey, the characters, do you have a preference over which one that you would immediately just like, I want to watch Critical Role campaign? I'm going to watch this one. Like, if you had to pick one or the other.
Are you asking me Vox over Mighty Nine?
No, but yes.
Because if you're asking me Vox over Mighty Nine, it's gonna be Vox every day of the week.
Yeah.
But I have more of a connection personally to Vox and to that campaign. Because again, it is the campaign that I started this show on. So, and I'll leave now and we can stop being friends. Jester really annoyed me. Like, I just kind of wanted to punch her in the face.
Oh, come on. That hurt.
Like, kind of Um, I mean, it just wasn't. I don't.
I love like she was just she was the cutest thing.
She,
Shh.
I mean, right? Because my answers have never been biased toward the voice actor at all tonight, Tricks.
No, I just genuinely
Never.
like the characters.
I would never do that. I just
What?
really like
No.
Percy and Ashton, and it just doesn't matter the fact that it's all of Talison's characters. Um, hmm,
Trying to figure.
yeah, but I didn't really like Mighty Nine either, so I
What was
probably
it that you didn't like? Like let's dive deep into this. Like what was it that you just did not care for?
I just think Vox is the better campaign. I would choose Vox over as much as I am enjoying now. Um, Bell's Hells, I would still choose Vox over Bell's Hells. Um, that's for the sheer fact that they kind of stray from the story a lot more in Bell's Hells than they do
I will
in the main
say
campaign.
this right now about Bell Cells. I have wanted to go back and rewatch campaigns 1 and 2 so bad that a part of me has wanted to. And again, this isn't a knock against them because, like, I love Critical Role and everyone, blah blah blah. I'm struggling to like it hasn't grabbed me yet.
Yeah, and if you read, it's kind of been the general consensus throughout the critter verse, critter ship, critter. I don't know. I know we're critters, but I don't know the collective
I
universe.
just say the critters. Critterverse. We'll say Critterverse. We'll be like everyone else and just add verse at the end of it.
Right, right.
But
Nate and I are going to trade that, Matt. If you want any part of this, you need our permission. Critterverse is now ours.
Matt, let's talk.
Let's chat.
Chit chat. Come on. Converse with us, please. Would love that.
We'll give you the rights, but you're not getting off scot free to Critterverse.
I hope that they see that and decide like and don't want to do it anymore after campaign after campaign 3. I hope they don't want to not come back because obviously I'd love a campaign 4.
Yeah.
But after campaign 1 and after campaign 2 and whatever campaign 3 is leading into, because again, only 20 episodes into a currently 80 episode campaign. And they usually go like the first campaign was what 114, campaign 2 was 141.
But I don't think, and I can't speak for Mercer because I'm not Mercer, and the rest of them. I don't think that, like, obviously it's gonna, like, any bad criticism, like, your people, they're people under everything. So any bad criticisms are gonna hurt. Like, it's gonna suck. But they're also, know that it comes with the territory. Um, and I think that if they truly mean what they said, and they still want to continue to do it and continue to play, that they will, um, despite everything, because they started this just for them.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't they? Why should they feel any kind of way with their
Yeah.
fans not liking this um, one campaign out of
Great.
3?
I
And how
know
many one shots?
Matt has said he said this like at conventions to fans. And honestly, I agree with him. It's like, no offense, guys, I'm not doing this for y'all. I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this for like like Travis and Laura and Ashley and all of them. And at the end of the day, that's all he needs to do. Like, because he's the one building the story for his players. He's not building this story for us. Like it's one of those like we're lucky to be able to enjoy this to the extent that we do. But also, Raiders, welcome on in. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking about Critical Role. But
To be
is
honest, maybe you wouldn't be able to speak if you met them. You know, Shrix. I think that he would.
I after I had a mild panic attack. No, the one I wouldn't be able to really talk is Travis, Laura, and Ashley.
So you say that. I said that. I get joy and the honor and the privilege of meeting Taliesin Jaffe. And if you ask my friend that went with me, Pandora, she will tell you some background stories because I tell you, oh yeah, I was all cool and calm and collected, and I did this, and we talked about this, and I was not. The week leading up to it, I did nothing but panic. I did nothing but go, what if Taliesin doesn't like me? What if I'm that fan to Taliesin? What if I walk up and I'm like, oh my god, you're and I love you, and I just want to touch your hair. Like, I don't know, like even if I was, he's not he meets thousands of people
Yeah.
at conventions. Like, unless I don't know, I would have to do something literally like off the wall insane that he's never seen or heard before for me to even make a blip on his radar.
Yeah.
The day of, like, driving up to New York, it was funny because I was still like anxiety ridden, but I got up there and I wanted to turn around and come back home. But I didn't want to turn around and come back home because of like my anxiety of the thought of meeting Taliesin. New York sucks. It sucks.
New York is one of those places I never want to visit. Even though they have a lot of cool like stores and places that would be cool to see, I never want to go there.
Yeah. But of course we were up there and Pandora was like, I swear to God, if you turn this car around, like, I'm going to punch you. And I'm going to like possess your body, because then all I will hear will be about how you were so close to meeting Taliesin and you didn't do it. So I was anxiety ridden all the way up until literally they have you walk around. They have the area sectioned off, and they have you walk around, and like you see them and you see him, and I saw him, and I was still like, okay, I'm okay. But like watching him interact with the other critters, there was a moment in time where he stopped being Percival DeRollo and he started being Taliesin Jaffe. And it was at that moment where I was like, you're a person.
Which is an important thing to remember when meeting like famous people. Is yeah, they have this celebrity status, but at the end of the day, they're humans just like us.
Yeah.
But it's the mindset of I'm meeting this celebrity who's in our case, like actors or like performers, like whose work means something to them. Has been a huge impact in our life. And so it's like, you are the reason like this is a thing. Thank you for your work. So,
but at the same time,
you have to remember that they're humans. They're people.
Yeah. They've had people, they've been on our shoes. Like, they've had people to look up to and to lead them and stuff. Like, I mean, still thankfully, Taliesin talked first. He literally reached out his hand and was like, hi, I'm Taliesin. And I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, respond. Hi, I'm Turf. So, like, I mean, I'm not going to put it past him in the sense that, like, if he hadn't started first, I would probably have just stared at him for, like, 10 minutes. But
Don't ask me what happened when I met Chris Sabat.
and he was just a person. Like,
Yeah.
it was, hey, how's your day? My day's great. It's kind of, hot in here walking around. He's like, yeah, it is hot. I said, how's your day? He's like, I mean, I kind of just want to go home. Um, which is a weird response coming, you normally he'd be like, oh, it's great. I love this, blah, blah, blah. That's what you would think. But it kind of made him more real and more human because this was his second day
Yeah.
at convention. And it's a lot, even for someone that's not going to be there, that just goes. Like, my social battery was drained after one day, and I wasn't even in his shoes at all. Like, I wasn't even close.
I,
So,
I can't imagine being in that position.
yeah.
Like, constantly. Just meeting thousands of people who, like, enjoy your work. And just. Some people take it a bit too far with their interactions with celebrities. Which is unfortunate, but that's what we live in.
Yeah.
So to go back and say like I would freak out meeting Matt and Travis and all them, yes. But again, I would remember like these are just people. Like these are human beings. They're not like new alien species invading or whatever. But
I mean, they might be. We don't really know.
I mean, hi.
Take me to your leader, Taliesin.
Yes, please. But it's the fact that like just these people. Oh, that sounds like just how much they mean to so many people. And it is cool seeing like so many like all the fan art, all the cosplays. Can you imagine like having someone cosplay as like something like one of your characters? Because I remember seeing videos of interviews from them, like their first time seeing a cosplay of like Percy, for example.
It had to be wild. Like, God.
Like just and then like the first time they did the live show. And then like this past October they did Wembley Stadium. It was Wembley Stadium, right? It was Wembley something.
Yeah.
Just I can't even begin to fathom because all that was in like 7 8 years. But just like
8, actually.
what?
8, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Because next year will be 10. No,
Next year will be 9. This coming year's 9.
2014 is okay. So they started in 2015. So 2025 will be 10 years. God bless. But I I feel like there was so much more I wanted to talk about, but now that I'm here, my brain just feels shot. I've been out of it the past week. I'm sorry. But is there anything? Go back to animated like stuff. Is there anything that you're excited to see for Mighty Nine animated that you can remember?
All of Jester's message spells. And
I just want to see like Ford actually animated, just counting everything.
um, do 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 donut.
Okay, okay.
Sorry.
Uh,
um, I think I don't know. I love the muffin scenes.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I can't really say. I can tell you the thing that I'm not looking forward to. As if that's not.
I was about to say, gee, I can only imagine what you're not looking for.
um, but I don't know. I'm excited to see. I am excited to see Ford. Um, and how they make him animated and how they do him. Um,
I can see season 1 ending with the scene that you're looking forward to the least,
I would
and
have
then
to agree.
and then season 2 begins with Caduceus. But at the same
Yeah,
time, that at the same time that would also be a cliffhanger, and season 1 with a cliffhanger ending feels kind of. Well, no, Supernatural did one. Arrow did one. Oh, season 1 cliffhanger would be pretty good. Go for it. But I think that'd be great. I wonder if Sam's gonna actually voice Not though, or if they're gonna have someone else voice her. And if so, like, what's Sam's role gonna be?
I feel like that would be weird to not have her
if
aside.
if they did not have her.
If not was not voiced by. I can't do this. I can't do it. Um, yeah, it would be weird. I think they'll still have Sam.
Sam will be there. I just don't see it being as fun.
Look, Nate's been confusing me all day. Okay, I'm real sad that y'all still haven't put exclamation mark baby doll in chat. All right, come on now, y'all are slacking tonight. Sheesh, I've been here for a whole 2 hours
One
and
thing
y'all,
that's
not
one thing
one
that's
of you.
kind of drives me crazy is none of my sound stuff's working. I wonder if it's because of, you know, I I think I might know why. Never mind. Don't ignore me. Actually, don't do that. Sorry. Um, Nate,
I
don't
think
break
you'll.
things.
It's kind of hard.
I would like to rage.
We're streamers. That's what we do. That's why we have mod Strix. This is your job.
Yeah. Um, but going back to something that we touched on earlier. What do you hope? What other like? I mean, there's really not much else they can do. Like a Fox Machina movie. The only real other thing they can do is a video game. The question was going to be like, what would you like to see? What other source of media would you like to see come out of Critical Role? But the only other one that's left is video game.
Yeah, I was gonna say a card game, but nope, they have that
They have
too.
that now.
Um,
God forbid to
I
try to turn it
mean,
into a live action movie or something. Don't do that.
you could do that, but then okay, but then raises the question though: does Taliesin play Percy? Does Laura play Vex? Does Liam play Vax?
Yeah.
And if so, do you go back to the? I think I don't know. I could be wrong on this because I'm biased. I think the only technically character shift in design was Percy's from his original to what you see on Legends of Vox Machina. I don't know if you knew that, by the way.
What, his design?
Yeah.
I thought that all the designs were like what they always envisioned.
So You can share it if you want, but I'll put it in general in your chat in like your Discord. So his original design.
I won't be able to do anything because I have the Discord
Oh fuck.
window to pop out, and whenever I do that, it. Look at this.
Or I'll send it to you. I'll figure it out. Oh right, it's over here because I was looking at my camera because it's on the screen now. Whap mop. This is his original. Okay, I was like, shit, did I just post that in the right fucking Discord? And then this is the him you see in box.
Are you posting it?
In memes. Because I'm an a-hole. I didn't even look where I was posting it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry. So he actually ends up being more like simplified than.
I mean, yeah, and that's in that kind of like art style that the animated series goes for.
Yeah.
I will say like one thing that kind of threw me off was everyone in Whitestone that was like on his list was just overtly hideous looking. And I'm like, you have literally everyone else in this show, and then you have these trolls. It's like, I get they're the bad guys, but come on now. Got Silas over here looking like daddy.
I mean, he wasn't that bad. That hurt. It really wasn't that bad.
It wasn't.
Ripley.
No, she's just annoying.
I mean, facts. She was just like, like tattered and bruised and beaten. Like she didn't have the persona of the Briarwoods. But I feel like if they wouldn't have thrown her in the dungeon, like she would have been better portrayed as like Cass or like Delilah.
No, just
everyone else is kind of a troll, but
yeah. I will say like sorry, my brain just doesn't want to work tonight.
Words are hard.
Yeah.
I have an intelligence of 6. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's me. I am Grog. I am Grog. I can't do reverse math. You mean subtraction?
Subtraction.
Even in the campaign, like anytime Ripley showed up, I was just like, can we just kill this bitch already? And just having her in the animated show, anytime she showed up, I was like, go away, no one likes you. But I stand by this. My favorite episode in season 1 was when Scanlan infiltrated the one dude's house.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, I love the let me be annoying. Let me be me. Let me be a distraction.
But if you notice, there's a lot of like just them talking down to Scanlan, and it's not because he's 4 feet tall. Like just the way they talk to him. That what's my mother's name conversation, like it's going to be like if people pay attention to like how they talk to Scanlan, yeah, it's gonna make sense where this is coming from.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed in my second run of the viewing this past week is I totally didn't take a break from Bell Cells that we were watching Fox Machina. Absolutely didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the campaign. It's just,
I'm leaving now.
but again, it's not for us. It's for them. Respect. I want to see where it goes.
It's been. I mean, Hell's Bells is tough. Bell's Hells. God damn it! I always do that. Like even Pandora's like, "Are you saying that right?" I said, "I'm like, yeah, Hell's Bells," and she's like, "That's a biker gang," and I'm like, "Right,
That's
but
an AC/DC song.
it's the name." She's like, "Turf, no."
I wonder if they had conversations about that, like after they established that as a name.
I want to know how many times they screw it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Fuck. I had a point that I was going to bring up, and I can't remember it. It had to do with Bell Cells. Oh, never mind. Have you watched any of the I think it's called 12-sided dive?
Four-sided dive.
4-sided dive.
Um, bits and pieces. Yeah.
I didn't stream last night because I was kind of in my headspace. I'm still there. I'm unaware. So for some reason I decided to pull, like, because they had that going last night. So I watched that last night. And it reminded me that, because we were talking about how much longer do we think they're going to keep going. And I remember hearing like one of the episodes where it was, I want to say it was Marisha, Travis. I think Laura was there too. Can't remember who all. But they mentioned how there's still so much in this world to explore.
Mm-hmm.
About Marisha specifically mentioned how Matt let slip that there was an underwater nation. And they were talking about how they wanted to be like, actually, no, that was last night. And it wasn't Travis. It was, wow. I'm good. I promise.
I think that it's said more than once because I didn't watch last night, so I think that it's been said more than once, for sure. So, but
Because,
continue on.
like, we have, obviously, we have Taldori. We have Exandria is the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Taldori. What was the continent for a campaign two?
Hold, please. Let's take a brief intermission.
I am searching. Please do not mind. But anyway, we have that continent, and then we have. I can't really say that because it kind of goes back to. But that's going to be interesting to see how that works.
I don't think that was.
I'm looking it up too.
I don't know if it was campaign 2, but they have Wildmount as well. I don't know if it was campaign 2.
Wildmount, I believe, is where. Isn't that where the Briarwoods were originally from? No, that was Whiterun. Campaign 2. Stop it, please go away.
We know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Just
it is.
explain
It is Wildmount. It is Wildmount. Never mind. Hello, Fee. Hello. Welcome on in.
And then can can I have this? No, it's the same map. Okay, great.
And what was campaign? What's campaign 3?
Marquette.
Oh, campaign 3 is Marquette.
Well, that's another one. I don't know if it's campaign 3, but
Looking at this on the phone is difficult because it doesn't want to work.
Marquette. Yeah, I think it's Marquette.
Yeah, Marquette. So that's only 3 continents. You know, they probably introduce a lot more in like different timeline. I want to see them do one that is completely like all original characters. Because I know campaign 3 introduces a lot of characters that were from the others. But I want Gilmore to be there because it's just fucking like.
Look, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Uh-huh. I don't
I didn't invite you. I don't know Elfie. Like, how you doing, Elfie? Love you, my friend. Elfie is also a Grog fan, so you guys have that.
Oh, bidet. Bidet. Did you say bidet?
He's a bidet.
Hey, Pop Pop, I fucked up. Allison and Grog are my faves in Critical.
I'll give you your $5 later. I have decided that we're just gonna start a little Taliesin like fan club. For all legal purposes, we're not a cult.
No, what I'm doing, I have an intelligence of 6.
See?
I want that as a tattoo. Just put it right there. I know what I'm doing. I have an intelligence of 6, but I want intelligence to be spelt wrong.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Do it, Nate. Do it.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Promised myself I would never get a Critical Role tattoo. Got a Critical Role tattoo.
You got one or you're getting one?
I got one.
Oh.
I have a D20 that is 120. It's natural 20 that says "Do not go far from me."
Oh, that's nice.
And it kind of serves as like double meaning. Obviously, Vax'Ul'dan says it to Vex'alia.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think Vex says it too.
He does, or she does. She does eventually say it back to Vax. My bad. Is this better? Fine. We can just keep me quiet.
I turned you up some. I think next time I'm gonna try StreamYard again. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Experimenting. This is only my 19th episode. I should know what I'm doing by now, but I had no clue.
Again, that's why we have mods. Shrix, where are you at on that one, buddy? Sheesh. Fired. I'm picking on Shrix tonight. I'm sorry. We adore you. I adore you. I don't know about Nate, but I adore you. But yeah, so it kind of serves as a dual purpose to me. Don't die. But it's obviously from Critical Role, and from as much as I love Percival Derolo and Taliesin Jaffe, there is a soft spot in my heart for the half-elf rogue, as I play one myself in Turfendiel Longbow. But it's also kind of for my brother, for Sora, and for my players, to let them know that I need them more than they need me. That's where that's from.
I get that. Totally understand.
Plus, it's a fucking Critical Role tattoo. Like,
yes. Like, not me over here wanting to get like 30. Like, I would have a whole sleeve of like Vox Machina, Mighty Nine.
And I actually fought myself because I have a Star Wars tattoo on the back of my calf that is the Rebel symbol and the Jedi Alliance intertwined symbol. And I was very nervous because I didn't think that I would get the same artist like that had such passion, because like I went to my favorite, not salon, shop, um and I didn't think that I would get the same passion like I did with the artist that I had do my Star Wars tattoo, because he was super into Star Wars. And I know I was like, I'm gonna be batting 100 here. It's Critical Role. It's Dungeons and Dragons. I'm the only huge nerd in the world that would get a fucking Critical Role tattoo. Um, I have to understand that he's not gonna know what Critical Role and Matt Mercer is. I have to be okay with this. Um, so I walked in with my Critical Role hoodie, and he came out. My artist came out, and he was like, "Oh, Critical Role," and I think Pandora was wearing a like some kind of Bucky T-shirt from Captain America. And I was like, "Wait, you know Critical Role?" And he's like, "Yeah, who doesn't?" And I was like, "Oh, thank God." It's like, okay. Um, so now I know you're gonna take care of me, and you're gonna take as much care of my tattoo as you are me, and it's gonna be fantastic. And it was. So that's my story. That's my tangent. Sorry.
Apparently, you were to tell me about the backstory for Alistair.
I have not told you. That's for a different podcast, though.
Okay. Okay.
I have not. We made this character's backstory from the only thing that I had, because the only thing that was out at the time, as of 7 o'clock this evening, there's now season 1 of Hazbin Hotel on Amazon Prime. Go watch it.
Is it all on there, or is it just episode 1?
I think it's 4 of the episodes. I haven't seen it because someone invited me to do the podcast.
I'm so sorry.
My friends like texting me like, "Have you seen it yet? Have you seen it yet?" I'm like, "No, I'm talking to
Yeah,
Nate still."
yeah, there's
Leave me
4
alone.
episodes. Yeah, there's 4 episodes right now.
I'm talking about my other husband, okay?
Don't mind me. This weirdo wanted me to be on this podcast. Actually, it's called a Codpast because he's dyslexic and switches words around. That's literally how I got Codpast. It was an accident.
I love it though. So I'll have to bring you on Tea Time with Turf.
Yeah.
And we'll ramble on about all of things, everything,
All the things.
all the things.
I feel a part of me feels the need to apologize because I've been like, my headspace is just scattered right now. Like, it's running 50 marathons at once. And so I feel like I haven't actually been the best on the Codpast tonight. So part of me is like, I'm sorry. But because in my head this was gonna go until 11, but we're at 9:30, and I feel like we've talked about everything that we want, at least without spoiling everything.
Right.
Which, you know, is still an ongoing thing, but
you're not the only one, because I've been sitting here listening to the same song over and over again that I love, to center myself. I'm now listening to my husband, and watching him create Ashton Greymore, as I may or may not have already done. Sorry, Talus, and I beat you to the punch.
oh yeah, they are doing that. You want to go watch that?
Yeah. They're all in pajamas. It's great. I fucking love it.
Oh, I love when they do that.
He's got his little hair and his little pink undie shirt, and it's.
I don't know why. Like,
this is just my. I'm sorry.
Like, I want to go back and just watch all of. I miss In Between the Sheets, like, for them discussing all the campaign episodes. but I understand why they're not a thing anymore. No, we're not going to bring it up on here. But I like the four-sided die. Like watching that last night, like I really want to go back and rewatch just all of the other episodes because they're just sitting on the couch in comfy clothes, just vibing and talking, and I love that.
Yeah, it's
So
fantastic.
this is why whenever we're done here, I'm gonna bring them up and watch that because
um,
they never work. I mean, listen, for the most part, they're pretty good at sticking. But
sometimes we're again, it's a streamer thing. You
yeah,
know this, Shrix. By the way, Chad, if you're not following Shrix, go follow him. You've been told. I'm just gonna start promoting people on Nate's channel just for the
or
love of it
or
at this point.
find his YouTube or both. Follow this man; he does good work. I will say I've got something planned that I want to do that I haven't done yet. I haven't started. I haven't started planning it yet,
Oh, what is that?
but I want to get it right.
Do you want to give us a sneak peek? Sneak peekies?
I don't know if you can see it because I don't know if you unless you have my stream pulled up, but
I do have your stream pulling up.
it's gonna be backwards. But I have
I
3 pictures planned out, written out that I want to draw that will eventually become one picture, and it is a mashup of the Vox Machina crew and the Mighty Nine crew hanging out. Like Vex, Percy, Bo, and Caleb are in one picture. Trinket is with Vex, Ford, Jester, Keyleth, and Caduceus. And then there's Not, Grog, Scanlan, Pike, and Yasha. And I have
Okay.
written down like what they're doing. Um, and everything. It's just a matter of drawing this out because this is going to be extensive. But I'll show what it looks like. But like it's just scribble. But I'm excited
Okay.
to eventually get this working on.
My nose itches. Sorry, guys.
And a part of me is wondering, should I try to include Bell's Hells in this? But I'm not fully like into that yet because I haven't
I
finished it.
think you should include Ashton.
No, and I can send it to everyone.
I also think you should probably not pay attention to me because I'm completely biased to all things Talus and Jaffe.
Means I have to find a way to. Look, I do have to include Kingsley in here. Go ahead, Kingsley. Never mind. I know exactly where I'm going to put him over here.
Look,
Done.
we lasted 10 minutes, okay, without me mentioning Taliesin.
This is fine.
Long time.
This is fine. Yeah, I'm going to have to put Kingsley on there. Because he's technically part of it.
I'm not kidding though, Nate. It totally makes me happy that like that has inadvertently become my entrance command to your stream.
A part of me was worried about it because it's like, wait. Because it could also be like like, hey, baby, at all. It's like, no, it's a bit. It's a bit. Don't. I'm sorry. So part of there, I'm constantly worried about like just freaking people out or creeping people out. So every time you come into stream and we do like, hey, baby, doll, it's like she knows this isn't the big creeper, right?
I love it. I'm like, this is great. You can ask Elfie. I don't know if she's still hanging in chat, but literally, I'm like, this is fantastic. It's the fact. So it makes me laugh because, I started calling him my husband because my dreams come true and I miss Jaffe and it is life. But um, everyone around me has now just embraced it. Like, like you call him my husband, Belladonna calls him my husband, Strix has called him my husband, Elfie called like I'm like, you guys are not helping with this. You guys are just feeding into the obsession. Like
And then I'm just gonna go pop into Nate's stream and say hello. Hey, baby doll.
right. I'm like, let me just hang on, I need a second.
Speaking
'Cause I'm
of,
had a bad
have you
day.
watched the session where that's from?
I haven't and I need to.
You know what it's from,
I
right?
Yeah, it's from Vampire the Masquerade.
Like, I really want to watch that.
Yeah, I need to as well. Because that is also another TTRPG that I want to do. Like I want to run a Vampire the Masquerade campaign. We solidify your husband. I mean, let's go. We can write him right now. Let's go. Tell us a Jaffe.
See, the same can't happen to me because
uh,
one of them's married.
Never mind. Never mind.
We're not going there.
I'm just
We're not going there. Sir, if he calls me baby doll again, I'm gonna rip his slit his fucking throat.
calls me baby now. We're down. Looking through it. Um. Yeah. No, we're not going there. That's a whole different stream, and we try to keep it PG here.
Hey, baby doll.
Turf does.
Oh, now the sound clip comes in.
Of course, I have it fucking muted. Wow, 2.5 hours into stream. Good job, failing on your job. No, love you, Shrix.
Wait, why did that work, but not the follow or the? I don't know. I'll worry about that later. That's not Codpast problem.
Shrix is gonna be like, I'm never talking to Turf again. She's awful and I hate her. Why did you bring her on this chaotic Codpast? I hate her.
Because I wanted to talk about Critical Role, and I can talk about Critical Role to her, but that sounded like a weirdo. Because I know you assholes are sick of me talking about it.
But yeah, but they still showed up tonight to both of us.
I mean,
So
masochists. But no, it's kind of brain as I've been. Like, this has been like I love doing these. I love just doing I'd say podcast, but it's the Codpast, and I don't know if I told you like how that name came up exactly. But I was in a voice call with some people. I know Bella was there. I can't remember who else was. But we were just chit-chatting about, because I wanted to do a podcast like this, what I'm doing. But I was in a planning stage. Yay, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. And we were thinking of names. And at the time, I had cemented Chaotic Sanctuary as the name of the community. So it had to be something chaotic. And my brain does this thing where I think too fast, and then my mouth says it'll say what I'm thinking before I have time to like fully process the thought. And when I go to say it, sometimes the words will get flipped or letters will get swapped. So I had gone to say podcast, but I said Codpast. And I didn't think anything about it. So I'm just keeping on rambling, and then they're like, Nate, stop. What did you just say? A podcast. No, you didn't. What? What'd I say? You said Codpast. I did?
and that was it.
And then I sat there thinking, chaotic Codpast. Holy shit, that's good. And yeah, I'm fucking proud of it. I had one person on here one time who they said, Nate, I blame you. I don't think of the word podcast anymore. All I think of is Codpast. And I'm just like but yeah. I'm not proud of a lot of things. I'm damn proud of that.
I love it. I do love it as well.
But
Um,
but I hate that this feels like the wrap up, but it almost basically is. But you know what?
I have a question for you.
Oh, okay. What's up?
I want you to do it right now for me.
Hmm?
Let me silence this. Sorry, my love. I will come back to you in a second.
I would like for Nate to sit in on a session with Saya and Oliver, and then hear what he thinks.
Yeah, my NPC and her, I guess her NPC, because he's technically not actually a player character. He's just like transporting them to the Feywild portal.
All right.
It's been very interesting between the two of them. She's definitely thrown the DM off for sure.
Love it when that happens.
Um, I'm gonna need you to do something for me right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna need you to say Percival's full name.
Hold on. Because I don't have that. I don't listen. That's a mouthful. Okay.
Oh, is it? You sure about that?
Is it that hard? Percival Friedrichstein von Musel Kowalski de Roller III.
Very good. Okay, I'm impressed.
And the fact that Towson can just, on a whim, every time he introduces himself to anybody, I'm like,
Percival Frederickstein von Musel Kowalski de Roller III.
yeah.
But in fairness,
Oh, it's that spawn from Sweet Life of Zack.
I also there's a YouTube clip of literally just over and over and over again of him going Percival Frederickstein von Musel Kowalski de Roller III, and I listened to that because of Trouble in Whitestone and me wanting to play the NPC Percy. I said if there's one damn thing I'm getting right about this character, it's his full name. I said I'm not. I am gonna nail nothing else of this character but his full name. So for like a half an hour, I just on repeat um was that one video, and yeah, YouTube is a
I
great source
keep
of.
I I I keep forgetting about von Musel in his name. Like I'll say Percival Frederickstein Cloros. See words. I can't do them.
Um,
I just botched that.
and then I also have a parody from Hey There Delilah. I also have written in my own parody
Oh
from her
no.
standpoint. Um,
Everything.
yeah, that was interesting. Sang it on a friend's real play D&D session because she wanted Percy, and guess who they all heckin' come to these days. Um,
I wonder why.
and Percy has a +0 in performance, and she's like, "Give me your performance checks." Nat 20, and I was like, "Let's fucking go." And she's like, "I don't even know what to say. Go ahead." And she's like, "That was amazing. I'm so glad you succeeded on that." She's like, "I'm so glad."
Speaking of songs, though, which intro do you prefer? Your Turn to Roll or It's Thursday Night?
It's Thursday night, actually. Though
I find myself, like, now that I'm watching through Campaign 3, I find myself missing It's Your Turn to Roll.
I really like It's Thursday night, but I've really found like a really awesome cover of Your Turn to Roll. So, but absolutely.
I'm not. I'm gonna tell you about this, and you're gonna hate me for it for the rest of your life. There's a cosplayer who did a cover of Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats. The video is just a picture of her in Jester's cosplay. And she made it a parody. Like, she did a parody of the song, but from the perspective of, like, Ford and Avantika.
Okay.
And she sings it in Jester's voice.
Oh no.
And it's actually, like, really good.
Oh no.
But
Oh. Okay. Fine.
out of all the songs that you've heard Scanlan sing, in at least The Legend of Vox Machina, one that has been your favorite, or do you have one? Because I got two right off the top of my head.
Are we talking like
Oh shit! He had a good one in the campaign proper, didn't he?
animated series or campaign? And are we
Animated.
doing like his covers?
I mean, I know he had a lot of good ones in the campaign, but like as far as just what are your favorite stuff that like songs that Scanlan has done? Because at least from the animated series, obviously I love the song that he did for the Sphinx.
Yeah, like if we're going animated series, I also have to agree with Hermit, and that has to be one of my favorite song.
That one, and then the song that he did with Pike when they were transporting Grog.
Oh yeah, yeah, that one's good too.
It doesn't help that I'm a big country fan, so excuse me, 90s country. What's the song that he did? Like, I know there's one in particular, but I can't remember it. It's almost like I need to rewatch it. That was so good in the campaign proper. I'm trying to remember. Like, there was one song that I remember watching it, going, "Holy shit, that's good."
I also really liked his again because I'm biased, to especially towards the scene and just the whole scene in general. The live show, it's before the whole love potion scene, and he's rapping about Vaxeldan.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it.
Yes, yes, you are. I'll send you that clip.
I mean, I plan to read the whole campaign. Hey Nate, what are you gonna do when you finish watching campaign 3 and all caught up? Going back to campaign 1? I don't have a problem. I can stop whenever I want. And I have. I've taken breaks here and there, but then I always go back to it. Obsessed? You're obsessed.
I'm not a critter. I know what you're talking about. I am not a critter. I
Mm-hmm.
You have no proof that I'm a critter.
Your husband is Allison Jaffe, and we are on a Critical Role Codpast talking about critical. I was genuinely looking behind to see if you had any like pictures hanging up.
No, the only picture that I have of anything Critical Role esque is the one of me and Taliesin, and it sits in front of me, hanging up.
Well, you got your little Taliesin figure like in between your monitors.
And I do. I have Percy. I haven't shown it all freaking night. I have my Percy. I love how I was. Can't really see him. All right, this is gonna be really bad lighting. There we go. There's my Percy figure.
I hate that series only has 4 of them. It's only got him, Vex, and Keyleth. Like, where's my Grog and the gnomes? Not gnomes. One's a gnome and one's a
He's got Pepperbox.
Pepperbox.
It makes me happy.
Did it come with bad news?
It didn't come with bad news. It just came with Pepperbox. Yeah, it didn't come with bad news. Another streamer friend of mine actually got it for me. So I try to like keep like my streaming room, like everything has a streamer significance. Behind me you see the flag from, you know, Raven. The picture behind me is done by Wizard's wife. Um, hanging on that is something from Wolf. This is from Wizard. Wow, from Hermit. So everything has.
some significance. Meanwhile, my streamer room is my room. I'm limited, but it's fine. I'm proud of my setup. We'll believe that. But
Yeah,
no,
the only thing not from a streamer is, which I guess technically I could say he's a streamer, but it's not technically directly from him, would be the picture of me and Taliesin.
I mean, he's currently live on Critical Role.
This is very true. Technically, he's a streamer.
Yeah. But
So,
I feel like we're just gonna have to accept that this is the end of it for tonight. Um, yeah, I mean, it was fun. I really enjoy. I love talking about Critical Role. And it's nice to actually have someone that I can actually like bounce back and forth with. But first and foremost, thank you so much for being on here and joining us. Hope you had fun. Also, in your first appearance on the Codpast.
yeah, it is.
Yay!
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love it. So I love it.
Fresh blood. I mean, what?
I'm usually on your side of things, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So it's nice to come on and be like, what am I doing?
Yeah, you're not the one putting on the show. I am, and
Right.
I've flopped a few times tonight. I'll admit it. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fine.
I have to be here and talk about Taliesin Jaffe. You got it.
No, you also have to talk about Marisha Ray.
I could do that too. It's fine. You did a little less than Taliesin,
But yeah, and to everyone watching, thank you for tuning in and vibing with us. I don't know what the next episode is, but that's the joy. So we're gonna start wrapping this up, and yeah, trying to find someplace to go. Oh, I broke it. I broke it. I hope they got you in the Codpast soon. Yeah, thank you so much. I know they're alternating weeks now. But one thing I caught myself this time. I caught myself this time. I don't think I did last time, and it irks me. One thing I like doing is a lot of the most 9 times out of 10, I guess, are also streamers. So I like to kind of give them a chance to kind of um, tell people like where they can catch you and like what you're working on.
Oh, hi.
Not to put you on the spot, but
I'm like, wow, there's okay. Um, I mean, you can find me over on twitch.tv/Turfendiel. As far as any other one of my socials as well, Twitter, yeah, Twitter and Twitch. That's all I got. But I also do where I get to put down the 10+ year player role and pick up the DM role. A real live action podcast of Dungeons and Dragons called Misadventuring 101 on alternating Wednesdays as well, and that is twitch.tv/Misadventuring 101.
I love it. And you also have your own podcast, right?
I do call Tea Time with Turf, which is just on Turfendiel. So I just lump that in with Turfendiel.
Yay. But once again, thank you so much for being on here and putting up with me.
You put up with me. I don't know what you're talking about.
But no, this is great. Now to switch over to this one so I can actually do this proper. I'm gonna go ahead and raid. Bad did we go? Oh, press say less. But yeah, y'all have a freaking tastic rest of your night. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. Stay safe, stay awesome, love your face. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.